Memorial Hospital is in the planning process for implementation of an electronic health record. The senior management has put together a project team, which will utilize a project planning software to plan implementation dates for each step of the project. The project team is centered on the mission statement of implementing an electronic health record that will enable Memorial Hospital to provide the best care possible to all patients. This is an extension of the overall mission of the hospital. The main goals of the project are to create a paperless, integrated system throughout all hospital operations, to create a user-friendly software to enable easy access and use by all hospital employees, and a support center available 24 hours a day to help transition the hospital and serve as a resource after implementation. The team used Microsoft Project to plan each step of implementation. The total project will take 325 workdays to be fully implemented, beginning on June 28, 2007, and finishing September 24, 2008. The dates are presented through a timeline in this clip. There are 7 subtasks of the overall project. As we continue through the presentation, you will see how each subtask is dependent on the completion of a previous task. For example, clinical information systems cannot be implemented until each of the other subtasks is completed. This will considerably lengthen the implementation of the project. The first subtask is implementation of patient information management, which is separated further into 4 components. Each component consists of configuration and training. Training cannot begin until the configuration is completed, and so the timeline of the project is dependent on these tasks being finished first. You can also see that the components of the subtask must be completed in a specific order. For example, patient registration can't be completed until the Enterprise Patient Index is finished. However, since admission, discharge, and transfer, and patient scheduling are both dependent solely on patient registration being completed, the team has made the assumption that these projects can be implemented simultaneously. The next subtask to be completed is the laboratory setup with 3 separate components. This will be implemented in the same fashion as patient information management, with the projects implemented in the specific order. The next 2 subtasks, radiology and imaging, are displayed together to show how the subtasks rely on one another. Imaging can't be completed until radiology is fully implemented. This is another reason for the considerable time frame necessary for full implementation of the project. Finally, shown here are the last 2 subtasks, nutrition and pharmacy, both necessary to be completed before clinical information systems can begin. These will be carried out as previously described. The last major project is implementation of clinical information systems, which is comprised of 10 separate components. As displayed through the project planner, many of these components are dependent on completion of previous tasks, while others can be implemented simultaneously. The team is also prepared to alter the project plan if a project implementation is not completed in the original estimated time. An example would be if the configuration team working on the chemistry component of the lab project finished in 6 days instead of 10 days. As a result, training can begin 4 days ahead of schedule, assuming that the training team is available. This alters the timeline of the lab implementation as well as pharmacy and clinical information systems, as both are dependent on completion of the lab project. The effects of finishing just 1 step of the project ahead of schedule are shown here, highlighted. By planning for this implementation, it is easy to see the value of using a project planning software. It allows decision makers to view the whole picture and make better informed decisions about beginning projects, timelines, and possible costs associated with the project. Not only that, but the software proves to be easily adaptable to changes. The planning team is able to alter the project at any time due to unforeseen delays or early completion. The next steps in fully planning a project would be to consider cost and staffing needs for the entire implementation. We have planned this project assuming that there would be staff available to implement many different facets of the project at the same time, but this may not be the case in the actual hospital setting. Project planning software is an extremely useful tool, but it is only the first step in implementation planning.